How's it going, guys? It is J-Force and we are back at it again with your weekly video, and of course we are returning to the roots to come back to World War Z, guys. And today we are going to be explaining the slasher class, the skill tree, and the tips and tricks I have found. To start off, I do want to apologize to everyone for being missing the last couple of weeks. Of course, most of you guys know I was in a military school, and of course I've been working on getting promoted. Therefore, I haven't had much time to do anything else besides work. But now things have calmed down and I'm ready to get back into the groove of things. So I do appreciate you guys for sticking around and bearing with me over this treacherous journey of mine. But if you guys wouldn't mind going ahead and hitting that like button, guys, it is really appreciated and it really helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure you guys go ahead and hit the subscribe button also, and hit the bell to turn on post notifications. That way you guys will be notified every time I post a video every Friday. But without further ado, guys, let's get into our slasher skill tree. Alright guys, so to start off our slasher class, the first default skill that you will get is shock troops. You start with a stun gun and compact SMG. Melee strikes damage 2 targets and do twice more damage when you're not tired. Melee attacks are not slower when tired. Very self-explanatory, guys. As a slasher, you're going to be up close and personal all the time with zombies to be effective. The first perk I would decided to get is all elbows. Movement speed penalties when zombies are very close reduced by 100%. Basically, you have no movement speed when the zombies are really close, so if they're smacking you around, you can still move full speed to try and get away if you need to. Next perk up, Zeus. Increase stun gun range by 50% and target count to 20. Guys, the reason I chose this over Juiced Up gives your stun gun effect duration increased by 100%. But I think the stun gun lasts long enough, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't need to be any longer. So therefore, I'd rather have the extra distance on it and also the extra capabilities of hitting extra targets. So that's why I picked Zeus over Juiced Up. Next, we're going to go over to Nimble. Take 50% less damage while performing melee attacks. Very self-explanatory, guys. As you're up close and personal all the time, you're only going to be receiving half the damage while you're meleeing zombies. So it ends up being pretty effective in the long run. Instead of getting hit for 10% of their health, you're only getting hit by 5% of your health. So it definitely adds up over time. The first default skill unlocked at level 10 is Slice and Dice. You and all teammates can perform more melee strikes before becoming tired. Very self-explanatory, guys. You will know if you're in a game with a slasher who is a level 10 because you will be able to do more melee strikes. I think it goes from 5 to 7. So you'll definitely notice that, and the whole team will actually appreciate that. Moving right along, you can pick any of these 3 skills. The one I decided to go with is Wheatgrass. Health is increased by 25%. Like I said, you're always going to be up close and personal with these zombies. Therefore, the extra health does not hinder you at all. Next, we're going over to Vigor. Killing 10 zombies in rapid succession with melee weapon grants temporary health boost. Now, guys, I tend to flip between Vigor and Cloak Dagger. Killing 10 zombies in rapid succession with a melee weapon grants a masking effect. I'm not going to lie. It depends on what mission I'm on, right? I normally like to go with Cloak and Dagger on when I'm on like more extreme missions and difficulties, but I like to switch it up. So either one you guys can go with. They're both great perks. I just wouldn't go with the third hand. It's not really worth it. Moving right along, our next skill I would recommend getting is Heavy Metal 2. Start with improved heavy assault shotgun that deals 25% more damage, 25% more ammo, and all the assault shotguns you pick up also are improved. Very self-explanatory, guys. I love the assault shotgun. Like, it is a great weapon, especially when it comes to hordes. You can just knock them down and knock them down. It is a great weapon. So with that being said, I really enjoy using it, so that's why I go with it. Next default skill unlocked at level 20 is Executioner. Perform one more melee strike before becoming tired. Melee damage increased by 50%. Again, very self-explanatory. You get one more melee strike and your melee damage is increased by 50%. So it's a free perk, you know, take it or you can't leave it. So you just gotta take it, guys. Next perk, we're going with Bloodlust. Killing special zombies with a melee weapon will increase firearm damage by 100% for 10 seconds. I find it great because what I like to do personally is stun a special zombie and then go up and melee them because they literally can't do anything. And because I do that, after I get the kill, my weapon is just ridiculously OP. So especially when it comes to the bulls. So I definitely recommend doing that skill. And of course, next is Pickpocket. Killing 15 zombies in rapid succession gives a 100% chance to refill one equipment charge. Very self-explanatory, guys. When you see a horde coming, that's the perfect time to do it. The reason I like doing this is because I, as a slasher, I don't like picking up supply bags often. Therefore, I need some way to recharge my equipment. So this is actually a great way to recharge your equipment without taking supply bags, because I like to leave the supply bags for the fixers and the medics. I think that they need it the most. Last skill, swapping mags. SMG's reload speed is increased by 25%. Guys, you start off with an SMG, so it's a great perk to have. I mean, I run SMGs all the time. I kind of run every weapon, but with that being said, this one is just the most effective for me because you start off with SMG, the reload speed, it's gonna benefit you. And of course, your last default skill unlocked at level 30 is Blade Master. Melee strikes damage one more target. Very self-explanatory skill, guys. You just, instead of hitting 2 people with your blade, you hit 3. So with that being said, that is the skill tree I go with for a slasher. Some may not agree, but make sure you guys leave it in the comments if there's something that I'm missing that you guys like to run on your slasher. But now we're gonna move over to our tips and tricks for the slasher class that I have learned. Okay, so tip number 1, when using the slasher class, you always want to melee your special zombies for faster kills. Now, this doesn't necessarily go for the hazmat zombie because of course, you know, the closer you are, the more damage it causes to you. But especially for the infector, the bull, and the screamer, if you're able to stun them and get up and melee them, not only do you have that extra melee damage hitting them, but also they're defenseless. They cannot attack you at all. Therefore, meleeing them will always get them killed faster. All right, so make sure you guys are meleeing those special zombies, and also you'll get your extra weapon damage from doing it also. Tip number 2 is using your stun gun to stun bulls as they are charging. So as you guys know, each class has their own deterrent for handling bulls, and your stun gun is that deterrent for the slasher class. If you hear a bull, you see a bull, you smell a bull, you even think that there's a bull around, you need to spin around, identify, and shoot the bull to make sure you're not getting pummeled for 5 minutes while your team is nowhere to be found. All right, so make sure you guys are using that stun gun to disable the bulls, and also it gives you prime time to get up behind it and get those melee slashes all over the bull's back. So that is tip number 2, guys. Stun the bull. Tip number 3 from using the slasher class is use all of the heavy shotguns you find, guys. I'm telling you, I think it is one of the most underrated weapons in the game. It has great range, the spread is phenomenal, and the stopping power and the firepower are just great, especially when you got those pileups. Those things are vicious. So you guys want to make sure as a slasher, if you're using that perk where not only do you start with it, but your damage is increased with a heavy shotgun, and every single heavy shotgun you find throughout the game is increased. You guys want to make sure you're using that shotgun to the best of your ability. I'm telling you, people will leave it. They'll see a rocket launcher, they'll see a grenade launcher, they'll even see a chainsaw and they'll take it, but they don't take the heavy shotgun, guys. So make sure you're the first one there, you're grabbing them, and you are demolishing these zombie piles with them, because they're a very, very, very underrated weapon. So that is tip number 3, guys. Use the heavy shotgun every time you come across it. Tip number 4, guys, this is actually something you do not want to do. Don't waste your stun gun charges on zombie piles. I know it may sound like a good idea, you shoot it in there and you're shocking 20 zombies at once, but to be honest with you guys, it is really not worth the stun gun charge. I would much rather have it for a special zombie to neutralize them, so that way I'm not getting spit on, or a screamer isn't screaming the whole time, or a bull's not charging and pummeling me. So that is the primary use of your stun gun charges. Or if you're surrounded by zombies, of course, you know, if you shoot one, it'll shock all the zombies around you. But I would make sure to use it for those rather than the piles. You're much more effective by just shooting at the piles and knocking them down that way. The stun gun doesn't really do much to piles. Therefore, I would not suggest using your stun gun charges on them. So that is tip number 4, guys. Do not use your stun gun charges on pile-ups, because it's just not worth it. And our 5th and final tip, guys, there's a time and a place for everything. Okay, sometimes as a slasher, meleeing just isn't worth it. Okay, you have to be a good judge of character to know when it's a good time to melee and when is a good time to just stand back and handle stuff from a distance. With that being said, when zombies are piling up on a gate, it's not the best idea to just run in and start meleeing them, guys. It's not gonna work. Like, you're a beast, but you're not that much of a beast, okay? Now, if you're surrounded by zombies, or there's onesies and twosies, of course, slice, dice, cut them all up into little pieces, do what you gotta do. But if you're getting charged by 50 zombies, sometimes it's best to just move out of the way and shoot at them. Alright, guys, you have to know when is a good time to melee and when is a good time not to. If you're an extreme, there's not many good times to melee, honestly. Maybe if you have a one straggler, you can get a melee off without him hitting you, but you gotta know when to melee and when not to, guys. So that is our 5th and final tip, guys. Know when to melee and know when not to melee. Alright, guys, that brings an end to our slasher tutorial slash tips slash tricks slash whatever else you want to call it. Alright, I know that there's going to be some people who have other suggestions that might contradict mine, and feel free to talk about that in the comments, guys. I'm always willing to improve. So if you guys got something better, you think there's something I can improve on, let me know. And also, if you guys haven't already, please make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button. Every like is much appreciated. Also, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube page, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell to turn on post notifications. That way you guys will be notified every time I post a video every Friday. But without further ado, guys, I'm J Force, and we will see you guys next video.